Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Doctor Music Podcast. Once again, thank you to my subscribers. Without you, I would not be able to do this. If you have not subscribed, please consider hitting that button so I can bring you great guests like this one right here, Ginny Luke. Ginny is an electric violinist, vocalist, songwriter. And there's a long list of what she does. That scratches the surface. Over the years, she has done sessions for everyone from Loaf and Foo Fighters to Britney Spears and Snoop Dogg. That's quite a diverse range there. She also works as an adjunct professor and violin instructor at USC's Thornton School of Music. She also worked as a piano, vocal, and dance instructor. Is there anything that Ginny Luke doesn't do? But our main focus today is going to be on a brand new record, all her own. It is called Devil at My Heels. It is on Blue Élan Records, and it's set to be released on November 1st. Ginny Luke, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me, Scott.
Absolutely. Let me I'll get started and give everybody a try and make it brief of your history. So your mother's a classical pianist, your father is a conductor and a doctor as well. Household rule growing up from 3 to 18. You play your instrument. Practicing non-negotiable. We practiced our instruments on birthdays and Christmas, played in band, orchestra, and choir, and attended music camps in the summer. Every day woke up 5:30 or 6 a.m., practiced an hour before school, then after school, a minimum of 2 hours of violin and piano. In the summer, practiced 3 to 8 hours a day. Is that about right?
Yes. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Now, I know there's some people watching. They're gonna say, that's too much for a kid. That's extreme. And what would did you ever feel like you were um deprived of a child, the normal childhood stuff?
Hmm. I felt lucky to be able to do art at a high level at a young age. And I felt like I was a powerful, driven child. I felt that as early as age 5 or 6.
Wow.
By
Yeah.
age 7 and 8 and 9, I was playing with other string players and ensembles and in shows. So I felt powerful already. It helped my confidence and what I thought I was capable of.
Wow. See, and that's yeah, for a young child to feel empowered like that, but especially by music, very powerful thing for to see and experience as well. But to actually see a young person empowered by music is a wonderful thing. At 14, soloed with Cedar Falls Symphony. At 16, Carnegie Hall. Uh, that's crazy. It's just nuts. You have three brothers. Are they musical as well? Musicians?
Yes, my youngest, who is 9 years older than me, they're all older,
Okay.
plays cello and bass. Then the brother 2 years older than that, Wes, is a concert master and plays in La Crosse Symphony, Madison Symphony, Dubuque Symphony. And then my oldest brother, Jason Luke, is a doctor and was a trumpet player, still plays trumpet. And he is in Pittsburgh and he's in a doctor band called the Checkpoints.
See that? And, you got four kids, three brothers and yourself, all in music. So that practice is all careers in music. So it's really wonderful, really wonderful. I've heard you say that aside from classical composers and violinists, that you grew up in the 90s. You're a 90s kid. Green Day, bands like that were an influence on you. But I see this record, Devil at My Heels, and it opens up. Now I'm an old guy, as you can tell. It it opens up with one of my favorites, Long Live Rock and Roll, a little snippet of that. Ah, and then I hear Do You Close Your Eyes? Also a Rainbow classic, and I hear this magical version of Burn. All of these have, well, they all have Richie Blackmore associated to them. Um, but they have a 70s classic hard rock vibe to them. As does the record. Your own writing is in that vein. Where did that come from? Where did you find that class? Where did you find the 70s in your 90s upbringing?
Yeah, it's a great question. I was really influenced by my brother who played cello and bass because he was so into rock music in his teenage years and he wanted to be a rock star and he still lives like a rock star to this day. Like people that just do whatever they want and they say whatever they want. They just follow the beat of their drum. That's what he does every day. I love it. And he would make me these mix CDs, starting like when I was 7, 8 years old, 9 years old, with Rainbow and Deep Purple, and then Metallica and Green Day and Blink 182, some 41, lots of different bands that I would never have been exposed to till later with my classical and jazz mostly family upbringing. But he was kind of like the rebel, and then I was really influenced by that. I also learned about Led Zeppelin when I was a teenager, and I was like, oh my God, this band is amazing. I was really influenced by the vocal style of Robert Plant and the guitar playing of Jimmy Page, and kind of like the wail, like wah, that
Mhm.
that I just was so attracted to vocally, and that was also fun finding that rebellious spirit coming from classical training, you know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I do think there's a lot of overlap going over to the rainbow territory, like in Burn. There's a lot of neoclassical and Baroque-esque guitar playing that was going on in the 70s that is so similar to Baroque playing on the violin that I immediately was attracted to that and felt like I understood it and I get it and I want to play it. And so that's what drew me into Burn. And Burn is such a great song and, a Deep Purple classic. So I really enjoyed playing that on electric violin.
Yeah. Oh, and it's just tremendous, the way it kicks in on this record. And Richie Blackmore and his to promote little Richie here, one of my favorite players, very
Mhm.
much that classical, neoclassical type of player. Lots of stuff, and especially now with his Blackmore's Night stuff, really Renaissance and very classically driven. So I can see where that happens. Burn, let's talk about Burn. Millie Brosh, who's been on the show, she's just an angel, sweetheart. Uh, what a monster player.
Yeah.
That just jumps out at me. You get to that track and that guitar just rips, and then it's the violin, the vocal, it's all very it's just you do so much with that song. Was it hard to adapt with that and doing the guitar violin balance there?
Yeah, the instrumental aspect I don't think was too hard, although I will say transcribing the guitar solo for the violin probably took me 2 hours
Okay.
and figuring out, okay, what tone and what pedals am I going to use and how can I adapt this for the violin coming
Right.
from the guitar. But that's really fun and that's like explorative and something that I hope to inspire other string players to do because I find a freedom in playing rock music on my string instrument, you
Yeah.
know.
That.
Um, I think it was mostly fun, and then I think there was just one vocal challenge. We can have no time. That part, figuring
Yeah.
out how am I going to place that and belt it, and I wanted to kind of reinterpret it, so I stacked a bunch of vocals under it, and then I did a lead vocal. So I think, yeah, it wasn't too hard. It was just a fun exploring, recording session of how are we going to reinterpret this.
Yeah, and then I see a clip I think it was a TikTok clip or an Instagram clip of a slow burn.
Yeah. A slow burn. I love
Slow
that.
burn. I'm waiting for the recorded, official slow burn version. Is that possible? I will try and post that if I can, put a link to that because I thought it was tremendous. And usually I don't really love that sort of thing. It usually sounds a little corny or awkward, but this just was awesome. I mean, the adaptation to a slower version of Burn was tremendous. So, did you think about recording that?
We got together, Neely and I got together in Vegas, and I said, I just want to record a couple different clips. Like, let's do, the original guitar solo, and then let's do like two reinterpretations of this. And the way I came up with that idea of doing it really soft and dreamy, but emotional, was just playing Burn on the piano, like in the middle of the night. And it had this new emotional quality.
Yeah.
Like the lyrics, the sky is red, I don't understand. Past midnight, I still see the land. And I was playing it on piano, like feeling something totally new coming over my body. And so then I was like, Neely, can we get together and just record something totally different that is this like emotional middle of the night expression? And so yeah, we came up with something kind of cool and um
Really, really
thank
cool.
vibey. I don't know if it's mysterious or if it's dreamy or what the right word is, but I love that version too. I think it's
Yeah.
really cool.
Bonus track maybe on the reissue.
Yeah, love it.
Yeah, I would love to hear that, formally recorded and everything. That'd be great. Um,
Cool.
a couple of weeks ago, I had Nina D on. You guys are similar artists. Nina D. Gregorio, of course, electric violinist. Um, and so we were discussing gear and technique and stuff like that. So I'll go over that with you as well because I think it probably changes from player to player. Pedals. Do you use fretted, non-fretted, acoustic, all electric? What are we hearing on the record?
On the record, I'm using primarily a Yamaha electric violin and uh, a German violin acoustic from 1821 that I got when I was 12. That was like my concerto violin. So that would be like the stacks and all the acoustic violins you hear underneath supporting the electric violin. And then I also use the Markwood Viper 5 string. I don't use fretted, but I like the fretted violins. I don't own one, but I've tried them. They're very cool, like when Nina plays.
Right, right.
Um, they're super cool. I really enjoy playing the Viper because you can get lower strings. They have 6 and 7 strings too. Um, on this record, I primarily did Yamaha, as I mentioned, and then also play viola. And I use the Line 6 Helix a lot. I really enjoy Line 6 products, and they have been supporting me. They supported me on this last tour with AJR with gear. With the Helix, you can dial in incredible tone. Any guitar people out there know um, it is digital, but it's so cutting edge. Like the tones are just unparalleled. They're so great. The overdrives and the delays, the reverbs are gorgeous. And then I use the Crybaby wah for a bunch of my solos, and love a good wah.
Oh yeah,
And yeah,
it's great.
and yeah, and my amps are PV and Trace Elliott. And then I believe Orianthi was using her signature wah and her signature orange amp, which is coming out soon.
Cool. Yeah, and it wasn't even out and it's on this record. That's pretty cool. And that's one of the cool moments for me. The Orianthi trade-off that you do. She lets loose and she is a monster player as well. You talk back with that violin on the title track. It's just so cool. Do you play any guitar? Are you familiar with the guitar? Can you play a guitar?
I played age 9 to 12. So I
Okay.
played acoustic guitar. And
Okay.
sometimes I pick up guitar, like again, in the middle of the night, if I just want to do something different musically. I don't practice guitar. I don't claim to play guitar, but it's really fun to just pick up and, I
Yeah.
don't know, make a musical statement on. So maybe it's something in my future.
Yeah, that's kind of what Nina said as well. It's very different. It's a very different thing. She'll mess around with it, but she's not a guitar player. So it's kind of the same thing. Um, you've done performances and or sessions with so many of the world's biggest acts. Let me just a handful: Jennifer Hudson, Nicki Minaj, Britney Spears, J. Cole, Snoop Dogg, Foo Fighters, Kesha, Meatloaf, Avril Lavigne, and that's doesn't even begin to scratch the surface, which is just incredible. Out of all those artists that you've worked with, and they all have specific general public personalities. We think a certain thing about Snoop Dogg. We think a certain thing about Kesha. Nicki Minaj has a certain thing that she projects. Um, what do you feel is most misunderstood from your experience of working with them? Most misunderstood artists by the general public.
What's misunderstood about them? Well, from watching and being around so many of these artists, they are all incredibly hard workers.
Yeah.
So I think that's misunderstood, number one,
Hmm.
because I think a lot of people think artists get to hang out, lay around, or vacation and not work that hard, and like their teams do everything for them. I don't think I've ever seen a major artist have their team do everything for them, ever.
Yeah.
I'm trying to even think of any artist. There's teams that help, but the it all comes from the artist. That's what I've noticed.
Yeah.
And um, the other thing I think that could be misunderstood is that they always get their way, or artists are always happy with every decision, creatively or business. So I would say it's incredible work, and also that they're being deliberate with what they want to say in the world. So it's incredible work, it's deliberate, and it's hard work,
Yeah.
but it's meaningful to them. So I think that's the most important thing. And especially coming from the Midwest, as a kid, I think that's something I had no idea about. When you come from a smaller town and you're watching, videos of your favorite artist, you don't always know that. So you think maybe that's easier, or it's like a dream life, or it's like something someone handed the artist.
Right.
And I think that's the biggest thing, is that they work so hard to get there and stay there.
Yeah. Yeah, and you don't get to those places without her working hard.
Yeah.
Snoop isn't just smoking doobies all day, and he's a hardworking guy. Yeah,
Mhm.
I mean, here's something I want to make sure we touch on this. I look at you, I listen to you. You're that complete sound and vision package. There are people that sing well and play well, but they just don't have the charisma or the beauty or whatever it might be. Um, or they have in the reverse. You are that complete package. And the press release says vocals ooze sexual energy and Joan Jett swagger. I'll take that for sure. I'm happily married for 33 years, but if I'm watching the Seductive Cinderella video and my wife walks in, there's going to be probably a little bit of an issue. You're a beautiful, ravishing woman that is very super talented and puts out this enormous sound. Um, but unfortunately, our business, the business of the music industry, we still have people that aren't respectful to that, and assume things and that they can have whatever they want and they're abusive. And so you've been a victim of assault and abuse.
Mhm.
I would imagine that that experience would possibly make you want to leave the music business or at least be uncomfortable around other musicians or especially executives. Um, so, what effect did that experience have on you? And, how do you find your way out of that dark space?
Great question. It's so common in the music industry. It's really common for women to and people to go through abuse and not speak up because it's scary to speak up, and um, you're worried you're going to lose opportunities if you do. So
Hmm.
yeah, my experience was a loss of myself first, and this is very common, I found out. Then I received amazing therapy from the Grammy Foundation, and therapy changed everything. I was able to find my identity again and find my mind again. And I was still gigging during that year after of healing and finding myself, but I was kind of gigging, like doing shows and traveling still, but without a feeling of a sense of self or a sense of soul, like kind of like a body, just moving through the world. And what I found, I was looking to other artists for guidance of how to heal from something like this. And the only artists I heard that were speaking about it were Lady Gaga and Kesha. And then a little bit later, I heard two artists talking about healing from a different kind of, I don't know if it was abuse or just tension, but it was Dorothy and Bishop Briggs.
Hmm.
And all of those artists had such a big impact on me on how to heal and how to find myself. And there's no handbook in the music industry, and there's no policies. Nothing is really regulated in the music industry.
Yeah.
So the other things I did were find organizations that could help me, like Peace Over Violence, RAINN, RAINN, which I used and referred later as well to other female musicians. And these organizations have incredible programs, they have funding, they have therapy and free phone calls. I really started researching what was available because yeah, I did think about leaving the music industry. It's hard to stay in the industry, especially when something like that happens.
Of course.
But then it did give me new meaning and new purpose. And I made this album with that fire inside of me. And that's why the album is so strong and almost comes off as really loud as a huge statement because I transformed from feeling shamed and embarrassed from what happened to me to finding myself and wanting to be strong and wanting to be an example and wanting other people to find the strength within themselves. So I think part of my healing was making this record.
That's awesome. And like I say, I see you there and you are just ravishing up there and confident. You standing straight and confident and sexy and all of that. And that is somebody who is comfortable with themselves and you've come a long way then. I'm so happy to see that. That is awesome. And I'll try and link all of those down below too for anybody that needs that help. And bravo to those organizations for offering that. That's tremendous. We're glad to have you here still. Will we see you on tour playing these songs? Or is this just kind of a studio thing? And you're gonna, gig with, and do your sessions. Will we see these songs played live?
Yes, I'm starting with Los Angeles, Las Vegas, and New York. Those shows are coming up in November. And you will also see me on an upcoming live stream concert on the 17th, which is just in 2 days, October 17th, the AJR live stream of that arena tour. because I was the violinist on that tour.
Yeah.
Um, then in December and in 2025, I will be touring and performing these songs, and we're setting up those dates right now. And I'll also be recording with other artists as I continue to do. But 2025 will be full of my music, and I'm so excited for people to hear it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. You got a Chicago date, you think?
I think so, definitely. And definitely Dubuque, Iowa, and
Yeah.
probably a Galore show.
Yeah. Awesome. That's great. I can't wait to see you. I can't wait to hear these songs live. Tremendous. This is a great record. Thank you for doing it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
And hopefully I didn't throw you off schedule and gave you plenty of time in your day. Jenny, I
Awesome.
appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Scott. Appreciate it.
All right. Doors always open. Please come back and see me.
Will do.
All right.
Take care. Thanks for
Bye-bye.
having me on. Take care.